Graduates, you have your diplomas in hand. The ceremony is almost done, but it's been the tradition of our college for quite a long time to leave you with a thought, to issue you a charge as you begin life anew after this day. Over the course of the year, I find myself collecting ideas all year long for a charge, sometimes from something I've read, sometimes from something I've heard or something I've thought about. Sometimes I'm influenced by a simple experience, and that's where my charge to you, the class of 2009, comes from today. Exactly 9 weeks ago today, I became a grandfather for the second time. When our grandson was born, thank you, again, I had very little to do with it except being the father of the daughter who had the child. When our grandson was born just before Denison spring break, Tina and I dashed down to Houston, Texas to see the newborn and to help out for the first few days, especially by distracting the baby's older brother, a very active toddler. Now, I'm not going to try to spin a charge to the class around grandparenthood. That's way in the future for you. But I will weave it around an observation that I made while I was spending a few days doing my grandfatherly duties. One of those tasks was to take the toddler on a regular walk, pulling him along in his beloved little red radio flyer wagon. Fortunately, we had convenient places to walk. Our daughter and her husband live in one of those scenic suburban subdivisions that's a so-called planned community, with neighborhood parks, community centers, and swimming pools, and best of all, for what I'd been assigned to do, gently winding paved walking and jogging paths in nicely landscaped green belts. Now, these paths do wind scenically, but they really don't wind very much. They run alongside streets that are more or less straight or gently curved. But the paths meander back and forth. In most places, they probably don't wander more than 4 or 5 feet off of the center line. But I was struck on my regular walks by this occasional sight. Every now and then, the designers had put in a slightly broader curve, maybe taking the path 10 or 12 feet right or left of the center line. The remarkable sight wasn't this modest little ripple from the straight line. It was that a dirt path had been worn in the grass by walkers and joggers to cut off the 10 or a dozen feet and effectively straighten the walk. Now this seemed odd. The paths have been designed for either A, walkers who presumably are out on a stroll, alone or with a pleasant companion, or as I was, entertaining a child. They were, these paths, as I said, scenically designed to encourage enjoyment of the trees, plantings, and occasional flower beds, as well as of the birds and other wildlife that took advantage of the foliage. They were fit for the kind of walk one might call a saunter. Or B, these paths were designed for joggers and even more serious runners who would be out to maximize their exercise, to increase their heart rate, to expand their lung capacity in the fresh air, to, one might say, jock it up. The paths were certainly not designed to get one in the quickest way from point X to point Y. If that was one's object, it would make far more sense to walk along the edge of the adjacent residential street. No, if you were taking the path, the experience was the thing. Thus my puzzlement. If you were out for a saunter to enjoy nature or company, what would be the profit of cutting off a 10-foot meander? Or if you were out for the exercise of a run, doesn't it rather miss the point if you're seeking to abbreviate the experience? Well, that dusty and sometimes muddy little cutoff got me to thinking about both college and life after college. Oh, we've all seen the cutoff taken in college, maybe not by us, no, not us, but certainly by someone else we know. We see it when someone dashes through the curriculum, just as fast as they can, fulfilling the bare minimum of requirements for major, minor, or degree, forgetting, I think, that it's not just the end, the diploma, but the experience, the education that's the object. The diploma you receive today will reside perhaps in a frame on the wall, or as likely gather dust on a bookshelf or in a closet. But the education that you've had, or perhaps could even have had more of, is the thing that will open doors to careers, adapt you to the vicissitudes of life, help you to become a more fulfilled and interesting person, and allow you to contribute productively to the communities in which you will find yourself across your life. Lest you think I'm chiding you or your generation, let me assure you that I speak frankly of myself. When I was an undergraduate, at the very moment that I discovered that I could reduce my course load and still meet all my graduation requirements, I reduced it. It took me only a few years after college to begin saying to myself, what was I thinking? I quickly discovered that it would be unlikely at any time later in my life that I would have as available an opportunity as the one I had just voluntarily cut short to learn more, to poke into things that would have been useful, personally enriching, or both. What was I thinking? Well, we see this all the time, don't we? We see degree requirements that are treated as obstacles rather than opportunities. We see them regarded as simple checklists. Got that last GE here at Denison, a general education course, got that last GE knocked off, never mind what it was. We sometimes see course requirements, too, as hurdles rather than tools promoting mastery and assessing the mastery of ideas and techniques. And so we, or maybe somebody else we know, gives them short shrift, doing the least possible to get by with a B. Occasionally, someone gets so confused about the differences between learning and getting a pass that they take the ultimate shortcut and engage in an act of academic dishonesty. Pleased as I am that Denison students, in fact members of this class, led the charge to develop a new code of academic integrity that was forwarded from the DCGA and passed by the faculty as university legislation. The truth is that cheating is its own penalty. It's a forfeiture of an opportunity to learn. But taking the cutoff and missing the pleasure of the metaphorical walk or run doesn't just happen in the classroom. We see it in the life of the residents in dining halls, in athletics and student organizations, and of social life at college broadly construed. When we stereotype people, as it's all too easy to do in the hothouse environment of a residential college campus, stereotype people by assigning alleged characteristics to them because of race or gender or nationality or religion or sexual orientation or socioeconomic status or appearance or age, we're taking the cutoff, denying ourselves the opportunity to actually get to know someone.